Hi, host Eric here, and I'm going to talk about challenging the status quo, how to go about doing that effectively, and how to go about doing it in a low risk kind of a way, right? So, the example I'm going to use is my Slavery Isn't Racist video, which I changed the name of to Race Equals Racism, the Truth About Race Politics, something like that. So this is an example of ENTP contrariness, challenging the status quo. And keeping in mind, for me, my status quo is going to be defined by basically liberal, highly educated liberal victims of critical theory, so they're going to have a lot of opinions about this sort of stuff that are strong and that are driven by certain values. So what I do in challenging this status quo is, first of all, I embrace the same values. So I acknowledge, of course, I'm not evil or any sense. So I begin the discussion by saying, yeah, these abuses of individual human beings are terrible examples of injustice or wrongdoing or whatever you want to call it. And then I turn the mechanism. So I say, the problem is what you in supporting this value in the way that you do, you're undermining your own value. You're not even going to be able to have a conversation if you're not agreed on the same core value. But that's like job number one before you can even begin a meaningful exchange on a subject. So we have to agree that racial equality and justice and nonviolence and basic goods are basic goods. And why wouldn't we? They are. So you start there. Don't challenge those basic core values, because one, it's wrong to challenge them because they're correct. And two, you'll never win. You'll never win because the consensus on the matter is far too broad. Instead, you have to challenge the means. And you have to point out the fact that employing rights violations to support your position makes you no different than the oppressors, right? Anyway, so the moral of this little story here is that we ENTPs, we extroverted intuitors in general, I suspect, really like to disrupt, like to challenge the status quo. And when we do so, we need to understand that's what we're doing and ways in which that's going to be more or less successful. I think that the core piece of information regarding that matter is understanding where your framework lies and what argumentation vectors you're using as they relate to the core value that the other party or the status quo reflects or embraces or upholds or whatever. So we know that the status quo is going to uphold some sort of value necessarily, whether it's security or nonviolence or liberty or whatever other kind of value it should happen to manifest. And that brings us to an end of another exciting episode of Talking with Famous People. I've been host Eric. Thanks for watching.